agenda today is we're going to spend 25 minutes with just coach-directed discussion, kind of like a wrap-up at any points from the curriculum that you guys all have, and you will be able to use and even follow up after this. So don't hesitate if there's stuff that you read later. We know you have a lot of things going on. Like, hey, I have a question about that stroke, and text me, and I will get those questions to Coach Wade. And if he wants, me to give out his direct thing, I'll do that to this group afterwards. But for now, mainly, we're gonna just have a nice, good, fun, casual conversation, learning more about swimming. I'm excited to be working with Coach Wade with the Army Warrior Games team. I'm the rowing coach and he's the swim coach. And one of the things that we're really seeing is trying to utilize a lot of the cross training from different sports. So from the rowing side, I'll be using most of his land training stuff. So we are kind of being more seamless at what we're looking at in sports. And Coach Wade has great stuff I'm sure you guys have all seen. And so we want to utilize that. So we're just going to get going. I'll let Coach Wade take over. You can just tell us a little bit about brag a little bit about your resume, and then we'll get going. And at 1:30, or which is 23 minutes from now, I will, let you know, and then we'll get you signed off.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. It's always an honor and a privilege to be able to work with the soldiers and veterans and being able to share some things that I love the most with the people that I really care about. So it's great to be here and it's great to share. Just a little bit of background on me. I've been in swimming ever since, wow. Well, who's seen The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? If you have,
Yes.
yeah, from West Philadelphia, born and raised. I'm the same type of guy. I was born and raised in West Philadelphia. And I've been swimming ever since I was 5 or 6 years old. And it's been a part of my life. I've been, in my swimming career, I've had the good fortune of being a high school All-American and NCAA All-American at the University of Georgia, team captain, and I've qualified for Olympic trials twice. Olympic trials in 2000, I retired in 2000, and then I decided that I really loved to swim, and I came back and qualified again in 2008 for Olympic trials. And during that time, after graduation, I've been in coaching for and teaching as well. I was an art teacher as well. That was my major in school. I've been teaching and coaching for the past like 20 years now. And during that time, I've had the good fortune of I've really worked with almost everyone in terms of age, background. I've worked with children from Learn to Swim, adult Learn to Swim, high-level swimmers, national qualifiers, soldiers and veterans such as yourself. And also with my fitness background, I've been personal training. I train athletes, I train triathletes, I train swimmers, I train fitness, just general fitness enthusiasts, people who are looking to change their physique or want to improve their physique, whatever fitness goals they wanted to accomplish. I've had the good fortune for the past 20 years to be able to help them achieve their goals. And so that's just the long and short of it. So if there are any questions about anything in the curriculum that you had, or if you would like for me to, illuminate or expand on, I'd be happy to. Oh, also, I'm head coach of Team Army, just so you know, head coach for Team Army swimming, as Patrick just mentioned.
Coach, do you want to kind of go through kind of synopsis of the curriculum that you sent out, or do
Sure.
you want to go from each stroke and just kind of detail questions, like maybe in a 7-minute section for each of the stroke or whatever works for you?
Well, I'll just talk a little bit about everything that we went through and just swimming in general as it relates to Warrior Games. I can go and go through that because that's something that we've been working on as head coach for Team Army. That's what we gear everyone towards, and I'll qualify that with saying that I understand that the vehicle that the vehicle of sport, we're learning about self-improvement. We're learning about adjusting to the new normal. We're learning about character building through the vehicle of sport. And it's not just about you know, getting everyone to warrior games. That's not just the purpose. This is a team tool, something that we use to build each other up. But with that being said, swimming, as it relates to the competitive side of the whole nature of warrior games, is something that is, I feel, well, and that others have shared. Um, it is one of the most valuable sports in terms of the warrior games, because I know that everyone says, okay, we're not competing for the medals, but if you are competing for medals, swimming is a great tool. Um, like, for example, Michael Phelps, he is the greatest Olympian of all time. And it's not because he's a more talented athlete than, let's say, LeBron James or, an Olympic weightlifter. But in swimming, you have more opportunities to get medals. There's so many events that one person can do. And that's the same in at Warrior Games. We have the 50-meter freestyle, the 100-meter freestyle, the 50-meter backstroke, the 50-meter breaststroke, and we have 2 other relays. So that's a total of like 6 or 7 events that possibly you could qualify for, and not just qualify for, but also have potential to score in. And that's something that will give you not just an opportunity just to get a bunch of medals, but it gives you more opportunities to express your athletic desires, athletic ability, and showcase your talent. And it gives you more than just one chance to practice something that will help you adjust to your new normal. And being able to do that through freestyle, backstroke, or breaststroke, that's great. So to touch on all the strokes, freestyle is one of the most common strokes that we teach, because it is, in terms of survival, one of the most relevant. Actually, all 3 of those strokes, freestyle, backstroke, and breaststroke, are kind of the most relevant, because you can swim on your stomach and then go on your back, or you can do breaststroke and lift your head up. But it's great. Swimming is great because it's one of the only sports that can actually save your life. And being able to showcase that through the 3 strokes that we worked on, that you've seen, the freestyle, backstroke, and breaststroke. Yeah, it's just a really great thing to be able to share. And there's so much. I have more information than you do time, so that's why I just want to just touch on that. With all that being said, I'll just open it up to some questions.
Hi, Tina, it's Kelly, Ryan. We worked together before.
Hey,
and we're Facebook friends.
Yes,
and I love your
yes.
videos.
Oh, thank you.
I suck. You remember, I'm a triathlete.
No.
Yeah, right. So that means I do 3 sports, none of them super well. But I feel like I'm yelling because I'm outside in a courtyard at Wall Street,
okay.
And it's like,
yeah, let's go. Let's keep it moving, Kelly.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so I have a bunch of questions. So if there's any shortage, I'll just ask one, and then if there's any shortage, I'll jump in with some more. So for us, for right now, for all of us, so there's plenty of exercises that you can send us YouTube videos to do on dry land, right? And I think I haven't been able to go through the curriculum, but I think that I saw some stuff in there, which is super cool. But one thing I wanted to know is do you have any ideas for the aerobic fitness side of it all? Of course, running, rowing, cycling will all help support our aerobic capacity, but swimming, we all know swimming's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just wondering if you have any ideas on maybe any of the VO2 devices might be a good idea to kind of simulate that kind of needing to be a little more conservative with your oxygen consumption. Do you see what I'm saying? Seeing are all stuck out of the water right now.
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
Well, if you have a chance to look at the first dryland video, it is about 58 minutes long, and it covers all the different strokes. And the thing is, it's interval based. So I made it that way because there isn't a break period. So it's basically like an hour straight of work, and there's yoga at the end. But with that, you can since I don't have a device to track your VO2 or whatever, or this or that, you can just self-regulate. You can do as much as you need to, or as much as you feel, and then you can take a break, and then you can see your progress by how well you do the exercises and how long you can do them. So the stroke, the reason why I made that program, it does a few things. It combines the already proven methods of uh, gymnastics, calisthenics, yoga, those type body weight exercises, and it infuses it with stroke mechanics. So while you're doing those things, if you can do all those things well for a longer period of time, you'll know that you're still getting the basics of the stroke mechanics, and also you'll get the benefits of um, reinforcing your technique, because when you're on land you have gravitational force, but as opposed to when you're in water you have the drag force. But you can feel certain things when you're feeling that gravitational force as opposed to drag force. So when your stroke is being when you're going through the stroke mechanics and it's being infused with all the body weight exercises, it really challenges your aerobic system when you do it over a period of time.
All of the information and all the workouts that he's providing work across the sport. And for me as a coach, I'm using his workout and his system because it works, and it's not about this sport or that sport or that sport. I recognize as a Olympic rowing coach that I'm taking what works great from one sport, and my rowers cross train on swimming. And so I really want to encourage everybody not to get tied up to what your sport is, but know that all the information that he sent out is useful. It's going to help you be that all around athlete, and it's just going to help everything. So really, it's swimming is great for everything. So just looking at it that way.
Yeah, the way I like to look at it is even though it may be swimmer specific, it's still athletically focused, and
yes.
everything that you're going to be challenged in all the ranges of motion, all the movement. It's it covers it checks all the boxes.
Right. So what's a big as far as the strokes? I'm going to let Aaron ask a question next. And I want to just kind of get into if there are any specific questions from anyone who studied the curriculum yet about the strokes, or just something. We've got about maybe 7 more minutes of coach's time before he has to go teach another class, and we're going to stay on for a half hour and kind of get into some of these other areas, guys. So hold on to those questions. So Aaron, did you have input? You were on.
I just wanted to say that some of the stuff that he sent in the emails with the balance and the on the water and not in the water, the core balances and stuff, I actually implemented them in some of my own workouts, and I haven't been able to use due to gyms being closed. It is a lot of useful information, right? So I think if you just take some time and watch the YouTube videos, then that were provided, it really does help.
That's
great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it's gonna like the balance. That's a good point. It doesn't matter what your sport is. I know a lot of the archery and shooting folks. If you work on your balance and your core strength and your core awareness and your breathing from the swim stuff, you're going to be more accurate when you're shooting. If you're a rower, if you're working on the balance at the swim curriculum stuff, you're going to be more accurate on that. So using all the stuff you're getting from all those different directions. So I'm just saying, like, using this swim curriculum and letting it translate outside to all areas. So Coach Wade.
Yeah, I was going to say that with the breathing and in swimming in general, one thing that I do like about it is it's sort of meditative in terms of having to have access to your breathing. I call breathing like you have 5 senses or whatever, but breathing is like the 6th sense, because it gives you access to all of your other senses, and the more you can observe your breathing will give you more insight as to where you are mentally and physically. And swimming is a lot about breathing and having control of your breath and just observing it, so you can make decisions on not just how to move forward, but also it gives you a great self-assessment. So if you are, let's say if you're feeling anxious or whatever, or you're feeling tense, before you actually react to that feeling, you can you can really use your breathing to say, okay, and take a step back and say, okay, why am I feeling this way? And then you can move forward. And the thing that I tell my athletes is you want to think like a man of action, but act like a man of thought. And being able to do two of those things, to be able to do those two things, the breathing is a key to both of those things, because you have to just be in a great space or be in a certain space so you can think like a man of action, and then you can act like a man of thought, because you can see when you're moving through the water, it has to be, in a sense, smooth. You can't fight the water, because the water will always win. So you really have to think about what you do before you do it, and it makes you more thoughtful. It makes you more mindful with your actions. Another great thing when you're swimming, and not just, when you're swimming, the goal is to swim faster. I just don't say swim fast, because fast is a relative term. We always want to swim faster, but in order to swim faster, you have to train harder. Now, that's the thing. How do you train harder? You have to train harder by training smarter. So it goes smarter, harder, faster. Training smarter will allow you to train harder. If you just go and train harder, you're going to get injured. You want to swim faster, or train, if you want to, whatever sport you're in, if you want to be faster at your sport, you're going to have to train harder. But it's not just about training harder. The basis of that is training smarter, and being able to be mindful of your breathing first. And that gives you access to your balance. That gives you access to your headspace. That gives you access to all those things. So it allows you can train smarter, then harder, then faster. And that's what I like to do.
Coach Wade, it is 1:26 now. We're going to be probably taking one more question for you before you have to get off. But I want to piggyback onto that. I think one of the biggest points that we should all be thinking about is right now, obviously there's a lot of limitations we all have. Everybody has them. Your competition has them. So the key is, what are you doing with that time right now? And so, like, we have the time in our lives now to take 2 hours and actually really slow down and train a different way. Use that core stuff that you probably would have been like, oh, I don't have time to do that because I need to get I need to get in the pool, I need to get on the bike, I need to get in the bow. So I take these things like that and build your overall, your core, your mental, all those things. Take that yoga class, take that core stuff, and it's going to make you faster by you being smarter with whatever your sport is. Because just like with swimming, are we working against our equipment, or are we working with our equipment? And that'll apply to no matter what your sport is. So that's why I really wanted to bring in, like with Coach Wade, to have this discussion, because I want you guys all to say, take this and apply it, and let it be your comfort place to go. It's like, I'm going to sit down and just go over 2 of these things and do it 3 times this week, because I have the time to do that. And what you're going to see is, when we all come out of this, you're going to be smarter, you're going to be stronger, and you're going to be faster. You're going to surprise yourself, because there are going to be things that used to not be able to maybe hold up for the second half of your race that are going to be able to, because of something that you worked in that core, something you worked in that mind, that breathing. Breathing is so key. So I just wanted to just really kind of wrap that up, because I think that is the icing, the cherry on the cake for all of us now is be patient, be smart, but don't stop. But also don't get frustrated about your limitations with other equipment, because everybody has those. Do what you have and take it. And you have a lot of great smart stuff on the curriculum for this swim clinic. So take that and apply it, outside of this week, outside of next week. And so really, Coach Wade, I know you have to get going, so I like to always be on time. It is we launch on time in my team, and we come back on time. So I want to just kind of give you a second just to do a wrap up, and everyone else, we're going to stay on for a half hour, whatever, and we can talk amongst the people, because I think some of you will be able to answer some of the questions. I'd like some of the athletes, to go, hey, so I know, Aaron, your input was super, and it's good for us to hear that from our peers. So we're gonna talk and help each other out a little bit, and then anything that's not covered.
Well, I'll just finish. I'll just touch up on I'll touch up on the last part of what you're talking about, the core. People think it's just for the 6-pack, or you have that 6-pack for the gram or whatever. No, we're not doing that. The core, what it does is it allows you to transfer power from your upper to your lower body. So it's a transference device basically. So having access to that will allow you to gain access to a lot of your stability and balance and explosiveness, everything that you need to be a great athlete. So, work on your core. It is important. And the core just isn't the abs, it's also low back, all that other stuff, shoulder, so work on your entire core. Just don't focus on the crunches.
It
Awesome.
helps with coming off the blocks as well.
Yes,
everything.
coming out of blocks.
Right.
We're going to talk about that a little bit in the second half. Actually, Aaron was reading my mind. I'm actually going to ask you to talk about coming out of the blocks. So, Coach Wade, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate the input. I am going to do the workout tonight, session 1 personally, so you keep me accountable as well. Okay. And I look forward to seeing you soon. And thank you for coming on. And we're going to let you go because he's got to go coach a whole nother team right now. Okay.
All right, everybody. It's great talking to you. Have a great day and keep working hard. Smarter,
awesome.
Harder, faster. Smarter, harder, faster. That's the way we do it.
Harder, faster. Awesome.
All right.
Great. Thank you, buddy.
Have a great day. Great.
Okay. Just going into, I know somebody had in the chat ask about, hey, what about getting out of the box? So what I'm going to do is just kind of have an open forum here and talk a little bit about getting out of the box. First, starting with Aaron, if you could go ahead and just share a little bit about your experience getting out of the box and how you think some of this curriculum will help that.
With that core strengthening that he sent out in the first workouts, it's actually really useful because not only are you working out your core, but you're going more in depth when you're on the block because you're going to be sitting there and you're going to be able to tuck that head just a little bit more, right? Get really deep into it, and then you're also going to be able to just explode, right? Working that core, right? And you got to work out the legs too, just to, just explode off the block, and then get really, past that first signature line, right? It's like the 15-meter marker, so right on the lane lines, right?
Good.
You just got to work out that core.
I am a triathlete, so I'm very comfortable in the water, but I have a brain injury. And Aaron, I was actually just typing this out to you because I remember, because you helped me in January, I think in Hawaii. But a big part of where I'm struggling with being on the blocks is actually my balance and my nausea. So did I just drop out?
No, you're good.
Okay. I'm having a really hard time just like being on the blocks to begin with. And I know we can have someone hold our hips, so that's awesome. But that being said, my timing and just like trying to figure out how to get a streamlined entry into the water instead of doing a ginormous, painful, embarrassing belly flop is really just not working out. So I've been racking my brain about this, and I haven't been able to practice a whole lot since Hawaii. But yeah, if anybody has any recommendations on how to handle this specific scenario as someone with major vestibular challenges, I would be greatly appreciative.
Okay. I have some stuff I'm going to give you, but let's let some other folks talk first. I'm kind of interested to see. Aaron, why don't you go?
So I have an issue with that balance problem as well, with my TBI and also some balance issues, but vertigo and all that. But some things that you might want to look into is yoga, right? And you might want to look into that whole workout plan that he sent out, because with the yoga portion of it, when you do the yoga, there's a lot of motions of you really contorting your body in different ways that you're not used to, and it throws you off. Don't be afraid that when you're on the floor and it tells you hey, bend over to do this, right? And then you just kind of tilt, but you're gonna start all of a sudden I started noticing that all of a sudden I'm okay, well, I know where my surroundings are, I know what I'm doing, so I'm trying to train my body to get used to what the feeling is going to be like. And then so you already know that on the block you're going to be bent over, right? So you want to try and train just a little bit of that, do it quickly, when you give yourself that head rush a little bit, right? Just try to see where you're at, and then just try to see like if there's what your balance issue is. Am I leaning more to the right? Am I leaning more to the left? Am I falling forward? Try to get to know your own body, right? Because we have to adapt to what we have, right? So I hope that helps.
That is so perfect.
It does.
I'm gonna switch over. Greg, you go next, and then I'm gonna add on to that because I think I have something for you, Kelly.
Yeah, adding on to what Aaron said, I suffer with TBI and vertigo and all that as well. And being bent over in there is, and like you said, having to adapt to things, working on the core and working on stabilizer muscles to counter-react the vertigo and the abilities that we have in different movements and different positions that we're in has really helped me a lot. So going in with the yoga, strength training, and being able to strengthen your core, your legs, and different stabilizer muscles that you would not normally use, but you're having to use in these situations or in these positioning will really help a lot.
Great. So I'm going to kind of bring that all together. From the coach's side, what I love to hear is you guys are obviously listening to stuff that your coaches are telling you. And from the coach's side, I'll say this transcends any sport. And so the first part is going to be the sports psychology part of it. I don't know if you have been hooked up with a sports psychologist. I can actually connect you with one that works with our team. And part of their job, and here's what's funny, guys, like I'm a rowing coach, but I'm also a 50% disabled veteran, and a big chunk of my disability are anxiety and stress disorders. So like event day, I'm the one who my sports psychologist has to keep focused. So there's a big part of that for the athletes. I'd say, how much a difference does it make going into it and with the breathing? So Kelly, like here's what I struggle with, the balance. Some of my athletes who are amputees, rowing and swimming are very similar to the fact that balance is very important. So like if one of my rowers has a little longer stump on the left side than the right, so he had to reset where his center is because the water is the same. That box it's not going to adjust to us, and we don't realize how much we're adjusting day in to deal with those imbalances. So simulating starting things. So one of the things you can do, and I would recommend everybody do this for any sport, just right there in your living room, put a couple of pillows down and stand on it and get in that position and just sit there and breathe and ask yourself, where are you here when you're doing that? Breathe and create a routine that works for you. For me, it's smiling. It's so weird. A rowing coach 30 years ago had us all sit at the starting gate, and when they said ready, attention, he said, I want you guys to all smile. We were like, whatever. We did it, and it was amazing. By smiling, it released stress. And so the second before we started that race, we were all a little bit calmer and we started cleaner every time. So finding out what is it that helps you be in that right place. This is where my center is, but my body is centers here when I'm kind of stressed. So I'm going to lean a little bit that way to start off. And I'm going to take those 3 breaths or whatever it is. So find a routine, guys. And find a routine that works for you, but create that routine in a place where you're comfortable, in your living room with some music on or something that lets you go, this is where I want to be when I'm in that stressful place. Because the beginning for any sport, that is where we blow it. That is the hardest point to be. And for swimming, being on that block, I can't imagine standing up there. I mean, it's scary enough being in a boat with oars in the water and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to flip, because people do all the time right there. And you're like, but on the swimming block, you probably feel like everybody's staring right at you and you're like, I'm moving. So just taking that psychology side of it. And definitely I want to talk with you more about that, Kelly, because I see some of the things where there's the specialist who works specifically with starting, and she could give you a lot of stuff. I think that will kind of give you some ammunition to find that new normal. So
she's here at Walter Reed, or
yes,
I could talk to her virtually, something.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. I would be very appreciative.
I know where you are. You're right outside of my office now.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I have an appointment actually for my shoulder
that's awesome.
in a little bit.
Yeah, so let's definitely hook up and get you connected there. But even outside of that, guys, you can do virtual stuff. So any of you who want that, I can hook you up with that. And it's really helpful. So that's probably
I just
the
wanted
biggest.
to say I I appreciated both Aaron and Greg.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I got it.
Yeah, Greg.
I appreciated both of those comments, and I think that your idea for simulating based on like standing on a pillow, where I was really struggling was the actual push off. So I'll have to figure out a way to get comfortable, and also because a lot of the feeling that I had on the starting blocks was very similar to the times that I like topple over in yoga class. So that's a big piece of it too. So I think you guys probably hit the nail on the head with that one, and then I'll just have to like progress and figure out how to simulate stepping off too, or jumping off.
Yeah,
maybe
awesome. Great.
So a question actually about like from Kelly's perspective, and Aaron, how would you say this? Kelly, are you looking, sorry, jumping in, but Kelly, are you looking down at your feet? Yeah. Are you looking down at your feet when you're on the blocks, or are you looking forward into the water? And Aaron, how would you?
I was looking forward to the water.
Aaron, how would you coach that? Would you suggest that somebody does focus straight down, so they focus entering the water with the top of their head, or should they be? Is there a benefit to looking forward to mentally, cognitively being aware of where they're going forward?
For me personally, I look down at my feet when I'm on the block, because I have my less dominant foot forward and my dominant foot back, right? So my less dominant foot forward is curled, my toes are curled over the edge, and then it gives me time to, and then when I bend over and I'm ready to grab the edge of the blocks with my hands, that's when I kind of just glance up forward, and then I'm looking at my spot that I'm going. Like, I don't know if anybody like has ever done like squats or anything. You always focus, like usually they have it in front of a mirror, right? You're usually focusing on that one spot on the wall or on the mirror, right? So that you can keep your core and your back straight and everything, right? So when you're going down, you're just focusing on that one spot, right? So same thing when you're just glancing up, you're focusing on that one spot, right? To, visualize the dive, so you're not doing a belly flop, right? When you look straight down at your feet, you're just going to go flat down.
So Aaron, did you find that position that worked for you by looking at different places? And then, because that's what I would suggest everybody, trial and error, because with the TBI and with different things and different limb loss and stuff, you may have different things that work for you finding that comfort zone. So try over like even a controlled environment, go, hey, this week I'm going to try it 10 times, 3 different ways, one looking down, one looking up, and you'll start seeing the consistency of what works for you. And I say that because with adaptive sports, a lot, this is what you're supposed to do. I deal with that all the time with US rowing or with rowing. This is how you're supposed to start. But I have some athletes, it's like, that doesn't work for them. It doesn't work for my visually impaired rower. It doesn't work for somebody with half a leg. So we change it, and people can be like, oh, that's not right, but it doesn't matter, because that's what works best for them. And based on, we've time trialed it, and what got from here to here, or out of that starting block the cleanest, that's what that individual does. So you may find some things that work for you. And a way to practice that off, this may seem weird, guys, but stand on a bed, and that way you can kind of like dive into pillows and kind of get that beginning part of that dive. And so just MacGyvering it, finding, trying it these different ways. And yeah, Kelly, I want like in a week, let's definitely check back and see if you found any changes by trying like some of the different focus areas.
So I actually, I'm a reg therapist, and I got the job because I went through therapy myself. I have a TBI, and so like balance and vertigo has been kind of an issue for me multiple times. And so one of the things that I think Aaron mentioned was that his leading foot, if you don't know that, the best way that I can recommend it, and it seems kind of silly, but it is a yoga pose, and it's basically doing the flamingo, which I'm going to demonstrate. So like finding out which leg you deal with the most balance issues. Again, make sure it's a comfortable area, but literally raise your foot, because that literally, you're now seeing that my left foot is dominant. However, when I do my right foot, I have some balancing issues. Like I can see where this leg needs more stabilization. Like I need to focus more now, because this would be my leading leg, and this is my weaker leg. So like I would know exactly where my balancing issues are, so that can focus. Like for instance, if I'm doing squats or whatever, like I know my right leg, which is my right leg, I'm gonna be a little bit more wobbly on. So like when I have that mentality of, okay, I'm ready, I'm prepared, I know what I'm gonna do, keeping your focus ahead of you. So like at least for me, and this is just my personal spiel,
No,
this is what
it's
helps
good
me.
stuff.
Always
on.
keeping your focus ahead of you, kind of like I think what Aaron said as well, picking a spot. Like if you're in the gym or if you're at home, like I'm looking at a window right now, so just finding a spot and literally just keeping my balance on it. It does help to keep you focused, to center your body.
Awesome. Great. Thank you guys. All that together, all four of you, that it's great. And on the recording issues, Kelly, don't worry, we're recording this, so we'll actually be able to go back through it, and we can sit through it together next week sometime and kind of skip around and then fill in some of the blanks. So we'll get that going. This is awesome. I kind of want to go on to another just topic. We're going to just kind of cover one more thing. So what I'd like is, does anybody from from the video or from the training, does anybody have a specific input, question, suggestion from one of the strokes, or like what's your worst stroke? What's the hardest thing, and what's the part of it that the thing that if you can correct that, you feel like you would be stronger? So just kind of think about that for a second, and we're going to toss that around the table a little bit. We got about 5 more minutes, and then we're going to get off of here.
For me, it's probably backstroke is my most difficult swim, just because of the unknown, right? You're not able to just keep your head up and look where you're going, right? You're doing the count from the flags, right? So now I'm doing more mentally on this one swim, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to make sure that I'm not doing too many strokes to where I bang my hand on the wall, or I'm coming in too close for a flip turn if I'm able to, or do I have to like push off right because I came in too close, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. So on that backstroke, because that's going to be very similar to what the backstroke is, the stroke for the swimmers that the visually impaired swimmers are like, hey, great, they finally know what it feels like for us. And one of the things that the takeaway that I got from all sports from the VI athletes is they count. They know exactly how many strokes it is. My rowers know exactly how many strokes it is to get to 1500. And they really trust that and go into that race. So do you guys, you swimmers, do you know your stroke count for one lap, or do you have an idea, and do you use that when you're trying to map out your race plan for the backstroke? Or do you just use the colors? I know you use the lane color changes. I know that's a super great thing to have, but I know you use that, but try incorporating some counting, even if it's like, hey, when I get to the red, final marker, then I know I should have 6 strokes after that. And what you're going to find is there's going to be a lot more comfort, and you're going to stop losing time there, because you're not like, oh my God, where's the wall? And you'll know, hey, I know it's at least 8. So if I do 6 full out, and then on 7, 8, that's when I start looking for the wall.
For me, it's the flags.
The flag, okay, and the flags.
I do 4 strokes from the flag, right? I know.
Cool. Awesome. How about you, Greg? What do you do?
When it comes to the swimming side, I'm kind of new on all the swimming, so listening to all this, and I'm really looking forward to getting that curriculum that he sent out, so that, because I do want to swim more. So listening to everything that y'all are saying, I'm gonna be working on all this, because
awesome.
I'm not a swimmer. I do all the other events, but I have swim, but I'm just not proficient in it.
All right. Okay, cool. So this got you motivated to try swimming and applying it to make you stronger in all those other sports. It's also the best place to recover from your other sports. Get over there in the pool and swim some, and your muscles are going to get massaged. You're going to recover quicker by getting in the pool. So we use our swimming pool for our rowers as our warm up and cool down, and it's very, very important. So don't take that for granted. Cool. Anybody else with any takeaways or anything else? once again, this is being recorded. We will have this so I can help you get notes and stuff from it, but mainly I'm gonna ask everyone to go over, even if you have it, go over the curriculum for the clinic again. And next week sometime by Wednesday, send me an email with just like 2 things that you grew, 2 things that you learned from the videos, and then 2 things that you had questions about, or 2 things that you think that you want to grow on, that we can specifically send those. I'm going to compile all those together, give them to both Coach Bobby and Coach Atiba, and that way they can send out kind of a reply where all the questions are together, because as you guys saw, it's helpful to know that other people have the same questions and have some things. There's comfort to know it's not just me, and that's what I would encourage you to know. It's not just you. So talk to your teammates, talk to other athletes, and you're going to find out that there's knowledge all around you.
So if everybody has access to the teams, you are now part of the MASP team, the teams group on MASP, or the MASP group on Teams, and part of this swim clinic channel, you'll see the files. So when you click on that swim clinic on the left, you'll see along the top post, files, meeting notes. On that file tab, there is the material from day 1, day 2, day 3. That's where Roger will be working to post this video as a resource. So your membership or your account to Teams isn't going to go anywhere. And the idea will be for you to come back in and access that swim clinic information whenever you're moving forward with working on your swimming technique and material.
Awesome. And so on that, let's do this, guys. Send me, so we get used to using this platform. That way it's all saved there. Send me your questions on a chat on Teams, okay? So just log in there and put them in there. That way I'll save them all in there, and it'll help us all get used to using this, because we're going to see, we'll be using this for all sports, for all platforms, and it'll just be great to have it all in one place. The learning curve of getting to it now, like now you guys are you're the forefront of it now. So now let's take this and keep it moving. Thank you, everyone. Wonderful session. The coaches, I'm so glad they were able to be flexible and to even get that time in there today. But it's just the beginning of stuff. It's just letting you know that all this is out there. So let's continue the chatter and keep getting things done. And I'm looking forward to meeting everybody live, but it's great to actually see faces on here. So I will see you all. And all right. And that is Swim Clinic, day 3, logging off.